in the first session, what we have done is to, okay, understanding the problem, okay, by learning. If I'm a product designer or if I'm a person in industry professional, and I see that there is a pain point, and then I understand, learn the actual issue. However learned am I in the industry, still I would look in a different perspective and learn the whole thing subject, and then observe, and then ask people, try. The session is conducted in that direction, and then now you have all the adequate information or the resources to execute a product, now execute a concept. Okay, that's what we're going to see in this session. Okay, now also we're going to see the agenda of the whole session is, as I was explaining, if there is an issue, okay, if there is a particular issue that you want to address by imparting a beautiful solution to that pain point, okay, the first thing that we're going to talk about is how do you refine a brief. The brief is that your intent to solve the issue, okay, how are you going to reiterate that issue, okay, pain point, and then contextual awareness of the product. Contextual awareness of the product is also just like the first session, design thinking, to get an understanding of the product. I'm going to talk about contextual awareness of product. Brainstorming, we're going to see what see, generally brainstorming, there are certain assumptions about brainstorming, and we see what probably how we going to perform or conduct a brainstorming session. I'll be explaining about it also. And product matrix. I'll talk about product matrix. How do you jot down your product to give an more clarity of the contemporary products, and Q&A, of course. Yeah. Okay, so this is a beautiful slide. We're gonna so many times come back to this slide to have a proper understanding of what conceptualization is. Okay, refining brief, as I was telling you, refining brief is just a intent of what you want to solve. Now fundamentally, you know what you want to solve. Okay, for example, you have different types of products right on the screen, like different types of pens. Everything is to express your idea, express your thought in a visual form so that people would understand. Okay, that's a give a visual cue for the other person to understand in a literature form or whatever, right? Through this medium. Now, keeping that as an intent, so you could make use of any of these products to express your idea, visual cue to the other person, so that he knows what you're thinking, right? What you want to express. That's brief. Okay. Now that's one way of mentioning the brief. Now, all these companies, all the products are from different companies, right? All the products are different companies. The different companies have different intents or brief. Okay. Now, refining brief that is a core intent of the product development. How do you express an idea using a medium? Okay, a tool. Now, the first thing is a whiteboard marker, right? You see there is a whiteboard marker. The intent of that company could be probably how does it refine a brief is to how does a person using what medium will he express his thoughts in a bigger way, in a bigger picture. Okay, using what medium? So let's say to deal that problem, he may have to create a bigger nib of a bigger pointer so that the letters are thick and the letters are bold and the bigger font have occurred. So these are the things that he may intend to develop. So everything should be, all the elements of the instrument should be larger in size. So that's a whiteboard marker. So what I mean to refine a brief is to reconstruct the brief so that you and develop and concise it to as low as possible. Let's say right from that intent of developing an instrument to express ideas. That's one. And two, an instrument, a bigger, larger instrument, so that he can express it bolder, wiser, bolder and larger, right? And the third brief could be how do you develop an instrument which is cost effective, cost effective, and also throwaway price. Okay, that's third brief. Okay, so you're going to refine a brief in a multiple ways. You're going to look at the product in a multiple ways, right? I hope you're getting it right. You look at a intent in multiple ways of understanding. That's about a marker, the first product. The second product could be, the second product is a pen, right? Any of the user group use, like mostly college students or students, it might target to college students, right? The second pen. Now that company may reiterate a brief into some other modalities. Let's say, how do we develop an instrument so that it caters to most of the students? See, sometimes most of the people, I am talking about students, probably they take out the pen cap and then throw away. Okay, right? That's one of the pain points they may have identified and thought, okay, so why don't we develop an instrument without a cap itself? Just mechanical pen, you just press on it and then you open and you go ahead, right? That's one intent, that's one brief. Okay, how do you develop a product with a cap itself? Okay, that's predominant, that's an evident concept. So similarly, all of them has a different level of concepts for each product. Now what you do is, how do you refine a brief? Now this is important. You have undergone the previous session design thinking and got awareness towards the product and have an evolution or the knowledge of adequate, better knowledge of the problem statement. Okay. Now you should be, after understanding everything and getting to interacting with people and everything, now before you venture into conceptualization, this is a simpler task. Okay, very simple task. And it's evident looking at the terms I like. Okay. Now you want to ask your internal development team or the customers, or directly, not directly as in indirectly, probably you would ask him, what would you like in a pen? Okay. Now he might say, I would really like if the pen is smoother, okay, to look at. Okay. That's one. You're getting it right. What if he likes something? It may not be directly, you might incorporate, but it's better. It's nice if it only that person likes. It's nice if it is incorporated. I wish. Here, the term I wish is so critical because the pen is in use for longer years and the customer may not have came across such kind of feature or functionality that he is wishing for. You're getting it right. It's not I like. See, I like could be what I like is the feature of what I like could be anywhere, but I did not come across. But what if I wish? Okay, that feature is never there in the product. But what if he wishes? Like, what if I wish the pen to translate into a pencil immediately? I does this. Okay, that's I wish. Okay, what if is also a different perspective of a product to be thought of? Like, let's say, what if this pen has 10 different nibs? Now, what if it is might not be practical? It might not be right away implementable, but at least what if it's there? You are thinking of alternatives of a direct approach. Okay, so these three are really important to be understood. It's a very simple task. You could have a 5 minutes of conversation with any random person or like relevant guy to be understood of these three elements. You could be implemented with your internal team and also the user. This is my favorite. Okay, this is a great research tool which I came across some time ago while I was designing one of the products and back at NID. There's a lot of background to be set for this metaphor illustration, but then I'll try to concise it to make it more relevant. Okay. Dr. Gerald Zaltman have demonstrated this metaphor illustration in a beautiful way. Okay. Now, metaphor illustration, generally, most of the human, basically, do not live significant of the time, so live in consciously aware of what they're doing. Consciously, they don't put an effort to understand right away. Let's say you're walking on the road for 10 minutes and then you don't. So while you're walking, you don't consciously be there on the road, right? So Dr. Gerald Zaltman says like 95% or 95% of the people do not put conscious effort of what they're doing. So there is something for all the development people to understand. Okay. Suppose there are certain products. Okay. You like them very much by mere looks of it. Okay. For example, I'll explain about this product, but I like this too much. Okay. And I just bought it. The application, the usability, I'll talk about them a little later, but I like this product just to look at it. Okay. This has mini rocks in it, and then it's a car fragrance tool. Okay. So you bought it. You liked it too much. That's like it. The product invoke your internal desires, and it pulled you to buy. That's force buying. Okay. I would call as force buying. Now, there are certain magic that this development team may have done. I'll talk about them. Okay. Those kind of magic inferences or insights could be pulled from this metaphor illustration. Okay. I'll talk about it. Metaphor illustration, let's say, as I was mentioning, most of the people do not live in consciously, so as their decision to buying also, right? Decision to buying. Let's say you go to a supermarket and then at the end of the day, you would realize, okay, so I've bought a lot of things which are unnecessary as well. But then that moment of time, you would feel of, you would get an injury feeling of buying it, and you don't know what you're doing and what had happened. But the people who have developed may have known what had happened, right? No metaphor illustration. Let's say what generally people do. Development team is, if I'm developing a product of aesthetic product. Let's say, for example, if I may have to develop a bed lamp, it's not just simply enough you put a small bulb, calculate in the illumination factor, getting to know the illumination factor while you're sleeping. That's science. Okay. Getting to understand the illumination, the amount of lumens that needs to exist while you're sleeping. It's not just the factor that is going to affect people, because while I am purchasing a bed lamp, I wouldn't be calculating. I wouldn't be knowing what kind of luminance that is required for sleeping. If I'm a consumer, I would right away, I see if it is beautiful and then buy it, right? And after purchasing it, I would install it in a home and then understand, okay, so this doesn't make any sense. There's a lot of lumens and it's disturbing my sleep. Then I would know. But here what's happening is it's aesthetically beautiful so that you're purchasing it, right? Now there are certain factors which are triggering you to buy. Now those factors will be quite analyzed with this metaphor illustration. Ask certain people in my group or like user group. Let's say if I'm developing it for the age group of 30 to 40 or 20 to 40, what I would do is I would take a college, okay, college at different places. I would 10 people I select from each college, from someone in Delhi and someone in Tamil Nadu, someone in far away place in China. I would ask them to, okay, for example, this example only, bed lamp, if I'm developing, I would ask any of these user group to send me a 5 pictures or 5, 10, like 5 pictures. Let's suppose 5 pictures demonstrating silence. What do they mean by silence? Or pleasantness. These are abstract words. You're getting it, right? So these are silence, silence and pleasant. So these two kind of abstract feelings that we would want them to send or communicate those feelings via pictures, via medium, right? Via a certain image. So I would ask them to send them 5 pictures. Now what happens is, this sounds abstract, right? So pleasant. What do I relate this pleasant sensation? How do you see? If I'm the person to be asked, okay. Now what I would think is, okay, so I was asked to send 5 pictures of pleasantness. Pleasantness. How do I attach the factor of pleasant to what? So to what instruments? Let's say, for me, pleasantness comes watching that kind of mountains or greenery. You see, there is a greenery. I'm not sure if there is a light and then it's hindering to get. So I would watch that greenery in front of to the left of me and get pleasant. So I related that sense of pleasantness with greenery. Unconsciously what I would do is I would select the pictures which has a green element in it, right? Similarly, many of other people also would pick up different factors of pleasantness. Okay, you're getting it. And silence. What instrument do I actually relate silence with? I would send that picture. Okay, so that's metaphor illustration. Here you need to observe. Okay, you're not asking the user to directly send okay, Krishna, please send me 5 pictures of the bed lamp. I'm not asking that. It's a metaphorical relation, right? If I'm designing a bed lamp, I'm asking the guy to send me pictures of silence and pleasantness. So these two are abstract things. So there's a metaphor. Okay, by looking at the bed lamp, you should reflect that it is, it is a prompting a smooth, cohesive, pleasant, that is the vibe that's giving, right? If you are incorporating these kind of subtle cues which are there in the people's mind and how they have correlated those factors in an instrument or a medium, that you are going to express. Okay, in metaphor illustration, you're getting all the aesthetics from the people, and then you are incorporating those elements of aesthetics into the picture of what you're developing, right? That's metaphor illustration. This is a beautiful technique. Okay, people less often talk about it. And I typically, when we are developing a product, we would incorporate this this activity definitely to any kind of products that we're developing. That's metaphor illustration. You know what features and functionalities that people like in your product, or like wish like in your product, and then what kind of design elements could you incorporate into the product. Now you know these 2 elements. Okay, now you get back with your internal development team and then sit back to brainstorm. This is a simple activity. Generally, we know that brainstorming is to put a lot of ideas onto the board and then shortlist them. That's one way to achieve that, one way to do it. But other way is there is a approach that I'm going to talk about. Breakthrough. The name itself says, right? Breakthrough. If there is a development to be developing a mouse as a product, now what could be a breakthrough? For me, the breakthrough could be there is no mouse at all. Okay, and you do a hand gestures and then it's done. The work gets done. That's one breakthrough. Essentially, mouse is to interact with your system or interact with your system. Now, why should it be a mouse? Like what I'm asking, why should it be a mouse? It could be any medium to interact with your system. So that's breakthrough. You gonna wild on breakthrough ideas. Not having a mouse is one example, or having it like a pen is another example. I have a stylus. Okay, just a stylus. You could put on the mouse pad and use it. The breakthrough is a different things. Like you're gonna wild on expressing those ideas. But hundreds of ideas. Here, one observation is that if somebody says that not having a mouse is one of the products, then you're not going to laugh at that person who is telling you, right? You're gonna help that person to more brainstorm, right? You shouldn't be disappointed if the person says that there should not be any mouse at all, because that's the whole intent of the whole brainstorming is to develop a mouse. And what if this guy says no mouse at all? Yet there is a product, right? So you shouldn't be disappointing at that person, or get a disagreement to that person at the first instance of he expressing the ideas, because that's so powerful, right? That's so powerful. What he said is powerful. No medium at all for interaction. Now, how many of the people would get an idea not having a mouse at all? Because the whole point of discussion is to have a mouse. How differently are you thinking? That's very appreciative of that guy, whoever is suggesting to not having a mouse. That's breakthrough. Now that's beautiful. Now we have put an exhaustive list of all possibilities. Going wild. Okay. For example, if you go back to the previous slides, okay, these are the many types of pens. Now, what if some person, one of the person says, okay, breakthrough could be what? Having pen and pencil in a single instrument, pen and pencil in a single. If I tap if I tap once, there is a pencil, and if I tap the second time, there is a pen, and if I tap a third time, there is an eraser. That's a breakthrough. Now, may not be practical, but it's a breakthrough. Okay, that people may not have seen a pen and pencil in a single instrument, but if it is there, that's good. So okay, that's slightly towards delight also. Okay, now what you want to do is assume that you have gotten 30 to 40 ideas in breakthrough. Now those 30 to 40 ideas of breakthrough would be ranked. Okay, so generally what generally happens is you have a team, at least development. Generally what we do, we have a biomedical guy in our team, and industrial designer, biomedical hardware electronics, and then AI programmer, and psychologist also, researcher psychologist we have. So all of us would be there. Now each of them is giving their own ideas, okay, their own ideas, and then their own wildness in a breakthrough. So what they do is, if I am a industrial designer, a mechanical designer, what I would think, okay, in those breakthrough ideas, what if I liked a mechanical pencil, okay, mechanical pen very much, and then I put that into delight. So I would weigh that idea of mechanical pencil a larger amount of weight to the idea of not having anything. So you're getting it, right? So weightage is given by different people, a psychologist and then biomedical person. All this, those weighted ideas are pushed to delight. Now delight, what's delight is, as it the self-explanatory delight word. It's like, it's beautiful, it's nice if it is there, right? What if I anticipate or assume, or I anticipate there is a diamond? What if a pen is incorporated with a diamond? That's a delight. Okay. If I'm putting it for 50 rupees and then I get a diamond, it's a delight for me, right? Just like anyone else. So delight is a feature of functionality that gives jolt or magic to the person to buy. Okay, that's a delight. You give a cookie along with this pen, that's a delight. Similarly, a feature of functionality given incorporated into a certain product, that's a delight. Now you're going to shortlist those ideas to delight. Okay. Now something which is practical. You're going to have constraints on that delighted ideas. Now there are at least 6-7 ideas that you've gotten. You would push those ideas to practical by specimens in the development team. Let's say the marketing guy comes and, okay, so Krishna, you're weird. Putting a diamond, however delightful it is to the pen, might not be practical for at least a 10,000 rupee also. Like, who's going to buy our mechanic? So he's going to buy. That's not practical. It's okay if it is priced at 15,000 rupees and the 10,000 diamond you put it, and then it's nice, right? 15,000. But then the whole intent of the design process of the development of that particular group is to develop an affordable pen, then it's crazy, right? That's practical. So you push things to practical. Now you have funneled down those ideas. Now the reason to conduct this brainstorming is that the whole team is aware of all the ideas and thoughts of different people, diverse group. Okay. Now in his development, so execution happens post this brainstorming, right? Everybody is aware what kind of different wild ideas are there, and this going to invoke. So what happens is this going to directly or consciously or unconsciously invoke or affect their execution. If I'm an engineer and I participated in brainstorming, I witnessed wild and crazy ideas. Now what happens in my brain is a firing of neurons at different parts of the brain. Okay, not just being a monotonous design engineer. Okay, if I'm an engineer, probably mechanical designing, I would only huggle in CAD modeling. That's not enough. Okay, that's not enough to be hugging in the CAD modeling itself. But what also necessary for me is to not having a brain which is a cognitive brain, which is a frontal lobes. Not just that activation, but which is wild, the probably cerebellum or like those kind of emotional brains should also be activated. Having sitting in this session kind of brainstorming would also activate such kind of brains. That's beautiful. That's going to impactful on this work energy. That's a second delight of having this brainstorming session with a development team. Okay, I hope this exercise is understood by you guys, right? Okay. Now, this is Now we are talk about, until now we have spoken of so many things, right? In terms of design, what aesthetics is, what beauty incorporated in a product, what welcome you to the practical world. Any product you see now you want to develop has so many things, into it. Let's say you want to develop a mouse. Now it's not just breakthrough delight. It's all funny, it's all nice, you developing a product and the design incorporation all necessary, all nice. Now who's going to deal with embedded systems, electronics, hardware, CAD modeling, functionality, aesthetics? It's all beautiful. So these all things needs to be adequately vetted by the development team, so to be kept in thought of all the things, like designing a product with all the user. See, the reason why I weighted design elements to it is, however beautifully incorporating all these technical functionalities, features into the product, it has to invoke that person to buy. That's when your product is successful. All right. For example, this mouse is sold, the unique selling point of this mouse, however beautifully functionally it is there, is the silentness of the mouse. You click and you won't hear a sound. That's the feature of this product. Now, what the development team did is an abstract thing, silence in the mouse. That's what he sold, not the ergonomics of it. How it's very ergonomic, I'm telling you, it's very ergonomic, robust. It's been 1 year, it does not damaged. Its longevity is good. All that is nice. Apart from that, what he sold as a unique selling point over the shelf is the silence. You're getting it, right? What's the beauty of design in it? Okay, however beautifully you're making all these instruments or functionalities, features, you are arrowing the customer with a design element. It's not always that happens like that. Probably the most relatable example is also iPhone. Like, how easy targeting, like, the beauty of Apple is that it's so functional, right? And at the selling points is about the aesthetics and design and the comfort and the ergonomic usability, all that.